I held the dress in my hands one last time, the fabric soft between my fingers. Delicate lace, ivory silk, something I thought she'd treasure forever. I had picked it out myself, months before she even got engaged. She used to say I had an eye for beauty, that I understood her better than anyone. I guess that changed somewhere along the way. It was a week before the wedding when I got the call. Her voice was cold, sharp, not like the little girl I used to tuck in at night. "Dad, I think it's best if you don't come to the wedding. It's just, your presence would make some people uncomfortable." Some people. She didn't need to say who. I knew her fiancé never liked me. Said I was too much of a reminder of where she came from. Whatever that meant. I tried to reason with her, told her I didn't want to cause trouble. I just wanted to witness her big day. She cut me off. "It's done. Please don't show up." Then the line went dead. I sat in silence for a long while. The dress still hung in my closet, a symbol of love that had apparently expired. I bought it with pride. I held it with hope. And now, it meant nothing at all. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when she'd run into my arms after school, lunchbox swinging, eyes bright with stories about her day. I raised her on my own after her mother passed when she was just 6. Those early years weren't easy, but we made it work. We had our little routines, pancakes every Sunday, movie nights with blankets and popcorn, dance parties in the living room when the power went out. She used to call me her hero. I remember when she brought Ryan home for the first time. Something shifted then. He was polite, sure, but there was an edge to him. The way he looked around our small house with barely concealed judgment, the way he spoke over her like her opinions didn't matter. I tried to keep my concerns to myself at first. I didn't want to push her away. But over time, the calls came less often. Visits turned shorter. She stopped telling me things. And when I asked, she'd brush it off. "Dad, you worry too much," she'd say. "I'm just busy." I knew something was off the day she told me they were getting married. She didn't sound happy, just tired. I offered to help pay for the wedding dress, even though she hadn't asked. I spent weeks searching until I found the perfect one. Simple, elegant, exactly her taste. She never even tried it on. The last time we spoke before the call, she said something that still echoes in my chest. "Dad, you always make things about you." I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to be part of her life, to matter. But maybe I didn't anymore. The phone call came just 3 days before the wedding. I saw her name flash on the screen and felt a flicker of hope. Maybe she was calling to invite me formally, or to say she wanted to come by, maybe even try on the dress. But her voice was flat, distant, like I was a stranger she had to speak to out of obligation. "Dad, I need to ask you not to come to the wedding." My stomach dropped. "What? Why?" There was silence on the line, just a faint breath before she continued. "Ryan and I talked, and we think it's best if you don't show up." "You think it's best?" I tried to keep my voice steady. "After everything, after raising you alone, I don't even get to see my little girl walk down the aisle?" "It's not about that," she snapped, suddenly defensive. "This isn't your moment. It's mine. And honestly, your presence would just complicate things." "Complicate?" I repeated. "I bought you the dress. I was going to walk you." "No," she cut me off. "Ryan's dad is walking me down the aisle." That's when I felt it, like a knife quietly slipping between the ribs. Her words didn't need to be shouted. They were delivered like facts, cold and rehearsed. I was being erased from the most important day of her life. "I don't want a scene," she said finally. "Please respect that." The line went dead before I could say anything more. I sat there in silence for a long time, phone still in my hand, heart thudding against my ribs. Maybe I should have been angry, but all I felt in that moment was small. like a shadow of a father, like I'd become a burden, not a blessing. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She didn't give me a chance to understand or to explain. She just shut the door, and I stayed sitting there, wondering how we got so far apart, without me ever noticing the distance. Have you ever been excluded from a major family milestone by your own child? Share how you handled that pain in the comments below. We read every single one. That night, I pulled the wedding dress out of the back of my closet. I had kept it wrapped in a garment bag, away from dust and light, like it was something sacred. I ran my hand over the fabric. Delicate lace, smooth satin, all carefully chosen to match her taste. It was the most expensive thing I'd ever bought that wasn't a car or a house. And now, it just sat there like a ghost of a dream. I didn't sleep much. I just kept turning the words over in my head. Your presence would just complicate things. I thought about all the things I had complicated for her, like the time I left work early to pick her up from a party because she was too anxious to stay, or when I used my entire vacation to help her move across the country, or when I said yes to every phone call that started with, "Dad, I need." I wasn't angry, not in the way people expect you to be. I was tired, not from age, from effort. So the next morning, I made a decision. Quiet, firm, and not out of spite, out of clarity. I took the dress to a local bridal consignment boutique. When the woman at the counter asked me if the wedding was canceled, I just smiled politely and said, "In a way." She took the dress out of the bag and gasped. "This is beautiful. She must have loved it." I nodded, but didn't answer. The tag was still on it. She never even tried it on. As I left the store, I didn't feel regret. I didn't feel rage. I just felt lighter. A few days after the wedding, I got a photo from my sister. She had gone to the ceremony despite knowing what had happened. It was a picture of my daughter and her husband dancing under string lights. Everyone around them was smiling. She looked radiant and happy. But not in the dress I had bought her. She had chosen something else. Simpler, plainer, maybe cheaper. Maybe not. But definitely not mine. I sat with that photo for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't curse her name. I just sat with it. Later that week, I used the money from the dress to book myself a little cabin in the mountains for the fall. A place I'd always talked about visiting but never found the time. I also made an appointment with an attorney. No, not to cut her out of the will. That wasn't the point. I just wanted things in order. I updated a few documents. I wrote a letter, sealed in an envelope, labeled for her. Not to guilt her, not to shame her, just to explain who I was, in case she ever wanted to remember. Sometimes people grow up and forget who held them when they cried, who kept the lights on, who cheered at every graduation and whispered reassurance before every job interview. And sometimes parents have to grieve the living, not because they're gone, but because they've chosen to forget. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not waiting for a phone call or an apology. But if one day she remembers, the door won't be locked. Just maybe she'll knock. If this story moved you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your own experiences with difficult family moments in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.